Hi everyone and welcome back to Brian's Horror Corner, or welcome if you are new to my channel. Glad to have you here. So, this will be the second time that I shoot this review video, as the first time I did not have any volume on. So that's awesome. So I guess I'll be really good at this review at this point. But the movie we're going to take a look at for 1981 is part of my ongoing 1980s horror series. Second movie for 1981 is one that I don't have the physical media copy for. It's a movie I've never seen before, and that movie is Dawn of the Mummy, which I streamed on YouTube. So I don't know if the quality is what the quality is or if it was YouTube related. So anyway, let's get into it. Dawn of the Mummy is a 1981 American horror film directed by Frank Agrama, who also served as writer and producer on the film. While not prosecuted for obscenity, the film was seized and confiscated in the UK under Section 3 of the Obscene Publications Act of 1959 during the video nasty panic. So basically, it opens in Egypt during the 4th millennium BC. Slave raiders abduct villagers to be servants for Pharaoh Sepharami's burial. While standing around Sepharami's sarcophagus, they are killed with poison gas, and the entrance to the tomb is sealed. Thousands of years later, three men, Rick, Tarek, and Carib, uncover its entrance. The burial's high priestess, now an elderly woman, says that the tomb is cursed, but is scared off when Rick shoots his pistol at the air. Rick tells Tarek and Carib to guard the tomb for the night and drives away in his Jeep. That evening, three grave robbers arrive and are greeted by the priestess, who tells them to close the tomb to prevent its curse. They enter the tomb but get infected by its gases. One robber dies while the other two escape. Meanwhile, American models travel to Egypt for a fashion shoot. En route to the tomb, one of their tires gets punctured and they stop to replace it. Model Lisa asks the director Gary to look at a dune. There, Lisa falls and finds one of the robbers' severed heads. The rest of their group takes them back to their location. So that's kind of the setup, the premise, and not the cast yet. The setup and the premise, the beginning of Dawn of the Mummy. The cast is Brenda King as Lisa, Barry Saddles as Bill, George Peck as Rick, John Salvo as Gary, Ibrahim Khan as Carib, Joan Levy as Jenny, Ellen Fajan as Melinda, Diana Beatty as Joan, Ali Goar as Tarek, and Ahmad Rateb as Omar. So yeah, that's the setup, the premise, and the cast for Dawn of the Mummy from 1981, which I watched on YouTube. This is a very low budget B kind of horror movie. Kind of forgettable in my opinion, but let's just go ahead and get into it, starting with the things that I liked about Dawn of the Mummy. So you got to start with the last half hour. That's the best part of the movie. The last half hour, the climax of the movie, does have some decent on-screen kills, including one character getting a cleaver or a knife to the head, necks and throats being bitten and chewed out. There's a decapitation, I think. So that it does have kills on screen, which is probably why why it was on the video nasty for a while. There's also more gore and blood than I was expecting, given the initial atmosphere and vibe of the movie at the beginning. They show guts being pulled out and eaten zombie-like. So yeah, initially watching the first half hour, 40 minutes of this movie, I didn't figure there's going to be much gore. But it does get there. It just takes a while. There is some on-screen gore and blood, so that's another pro I can give it. The look of the zombified mummy and the mummy soldiers looks pretty good. I think the makeup effects are effective, especially for the time. I thought overall it was an effective look for him. The mummy's got a very close-up, like all black, almost like mud, and then you can see the eyes. Kind of what you would picture for a mummy, I suppose, once they cut him out of the sarcophagus. So that part was good. And then I think the setting of the movie, where they actually filmed it in Egypt, it does have some really nice shots and some nice landscape images to help really take the viewer into this world and also into this movie, make it a little bit more believable. I also like the setting of this inside underground cave where the mummy and his soldiers are buried, where they die. Very authentic, and I thought it added to the bit of atmosphere that this movie does have. So kudos to him for that. So those are my pros for Dawn of the Mummy. As far as cons go, the movie's really hard to see. Now, again, I don't know if, because I watched it on YouTube, I got a worse version, or if the movie's like that in general. I mean, it is a low budget kind of B horror movie, so I know there's a DVD release of this movie from years ago, so I don't know if you're watching this and you've seen this movie on DVD or you have it on DVD. Let me know if the DVD looks a little bit better than the YouTube streaming version of it. I'd be curious to hear, because on this version on YouTube, there's a lot of dark scenes and it's really hard to see much of anything. It really makes things hard to follow. But like I said, I'm not sure if that's YouTube specific or if the DVD transfers better. But it does have a dark, grainy, almost made for TV kind of look and quality to it. That was hard to really follow. The first hour of the movie is really hard to get into, as not much really happens. It's a lot of setup, a lot of introducing us to characters, many characters, a lot of dialogue, a lot of talking, model photo shoots, just a lot of stuff, smoking, nothing that really has to do with horror or the Mummy necessarily. So yeah, that was kind of disappointing. Like I said, this is if you want to say it's a slow burn, I don't even know if I give it that much credit. The last half hour is the go-to for this movie, though. The first hour is a lot of setup and unnecessary filler, in my opinion. Slow moving, nothing really thrilling for the first hour. All of the characters that are introduced are really forgettable. None of them are really stand out. I don't even remember their names without looking at the cast list here. Just kind of there for the body count numbers, in my opinion. Even your more main characters that end up maybe making it at the end, I don't know anything about them. I just don't care about them. But again, it's a low budget B horror movie, so I understand that that's not necessarily a high requisite for a lot of people that like these kind of movies. The overall story and premise is pretty silly and contrived, obviously. Bad decisions are made by characters, ridiculous coincidences, just nonsensical overall. But again, low budget B horror movie during this time. It's, there's a lot of cheese to it, so I can say that. The acting and the dialogue are really not great either. The written dialogue, the delivered dialogue, because of the acting, not great. Not grounded or easy to believe, really. Not really all that interesting or rewatchable a movie, frankly, for me anyway. Just kind of another Italian zombie movie with about 30 minutes of anything actually happening in this movie. It is like an Italian zombie movie, though, because even though this mummy and his guards, it's more of an Egyptian mummy movie, they once they come alive and wreak havoc in the last half hour, they act more like zombies, like ripping people's throats out and biting people, ripping out flesh. So it does almost play more like a zombie movie when the action really starts. So just kind of know that going in. But I just don't think this movie's executed all that well. I mean, I mentioned the premise and the story is ridiculous to start with, but there's a way that you can get around that if the movie's well executed, like others have been that I've seen. This one, I just didn't really find its execution all that great, if I'm being honest about it. So I don't know. Dawn of the Mummy, I'm going to go ahead and give a 5.5 out of 10 to, as far as the rating goes. I wasn't all that impressed with it. I don't think it's a movie that I necessarily need to run out and get the DVD copy of, or have in my collection as a physical media item. If I ever want to watch it again, I'll find it on YouTube or somewhere else. Would I ever watch it again? Maybe if somebody else wanted to see it who hadn't seen it before, I'd give it a watch, but other than that, probably not. So 5.5 out of 10 for Dawn of the Mummy from 1980. Please comment down below if you guys have seen this movie, what you think of it, if you like it more than I do. If you have any questions about it, things that I didn't cover here, let me know down below in the comments. Please like this video, hit the little notification bell, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my upcoming 1981 horror movie review videos here. I've got 3.5 months of this, so we're good to go for a while here. Over 5 months, as I mentioned in my intro video. If you know, you know. But a lot of action coming your way in terms of my channel. So with that being said, I hope everybody's having a good 2025 so far. Thank you for watching. But as always, stay scared. Bye.